Welcome to the Missouri Baptist University football program. Today is the National Signing Day, and I am Guy Danhoff, and we're going to have a great day because Coach B is about to reveal the class of 2021. We have 20 signees. We have 10 of them on offense, 8 of them on defense, and we have 2 kickers. And with that, without further ado, let's bring in Coach B right now. Here we go. Coach B, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. This is a signing day unlike any other, but doing well. And good to see you. It's been a minute since we've had a chance to talk. I think we'll be able to visit in a lot here in the coming weeks, but it's definitely good to see you.
So, Coach, let's just start with the very beginning, and that is you have 20 signees. So kind of just give us an overview at this point, because I want to ask you another question before you dive into the list of 20. But, kind of give us a sense of, what you were looking for coming into the class of 2021?
Well, like anything, I think we're always looking at ways to get our football team better. How can we, find playmakers, meet positional needs? I think this year, some of the areas that we felt we needed to boost things was across the offensive and defensive line. That's always a point of emphasis for us, but, we're getting guys that are older on both of those positions, and most of them will be coming back. But because of that, we wanted to continue to solidify some of that those positions up front, and then also, put some effort into the special teams. So, I thought we did a really good job of meeting some of the primary needs up front, and obviously recruiting is still going on, and we're still working to find us a few other positional needs, maybe some skill guys, but we've got some guys in this class that are in those skill positions that I think can really make an impact and really kind of fit what we see in our league, and really, really excited to add them today.
So, Coach, with that being said, I have to ask this important question. And if you could, for our viewers, explain to Sport Nation what this recruiting process has been like during COVID, because we know from state to state you're going to have issues, literally from county to county, because of restrictions and what's going on depending on where you're recruiting. And of course, we all know the elephant in the room is the fact that your season starts basically on February 13th. And the question I have for you, how have you been able to manage all of this, particularly this recruiting process?
Well, it's been a challenge. I think it's with in any industry, business, education, things that you guys are doing from a teaching standpoint and from a university standpoint, is that you're learning a lot as you go, and you just kind of understand that we really have never been down this road. We don't know what the next step is, and you just take one step at a time and evaluate the situation as it comes, try and have the best answer and the best plan you can. For us, the thing that benefited us a little bit was that, we made the decision as a university and as a league that we weren't going to be playing this fall. And we made that, in July and August. And that allowed us to then kind of start planning for how things might change. So one of the things we did was we were starting to invite guys for campus visits, and doing that a lot earlier than what we normally would when we're in a season. So we've had the opportunity to have a lot of great young men and their families on campus. That's been very beneficial. We've moved to doing a lot of virtual visits. So we've been on Zoom with people across the country, and I think that that's something that we've learned that, hey, this is possible, we can do, and something we're going to continue to do as well, because it allows us to touch people in a more direct, personal way than maybe we could with people that are out of state. So there's been a lot of learning, a lot of being flexible, a lot of adjusting on the fly. But, I'm really excited about where we're at and what our staff has put together throughout this crazy time. But as we move in, like I said, this is a signing day like any other. So we're on I'm taking time right now. Normally, this is where all of our focus is signing day, talking to recruits and making sure we're getting stuff out on social media and really pumping them up. And so we don't want to change that. This is a big day for those guys, and we want to make sure that they understand how excited we are to add them, and don't want to change how how that operates on our end. But at the same token, we have to get ready for our practice this afternoon because we're 10 days out from our first game. So it just adds more, but nothing that we aren't used to and can't handle, and that's what makes this time exciting anyway.
So, Coach, with that being said, let's just dive right in. We got 20 signees, and let's start with the offensive side of the ball. I know bias, obviously, a former offensive lineman, so we got to start on offense. So, with that, I want to kick us off with the new Spartans, the class of 2021.
Yeah, it's crazy saying 2021, that's for sure. But we do have some really talented guys up front that we're excited about. All these guys. The biggest thing with offensive linemen are they smart? That. They've got to. There's a lot that they've got to handle. And obviously their work ethic. Because a lot of these guys. The good news is that we have the ability to get some of these guys back that they can learn under, but our goal for them is to come in and compete and fill some holes where needed, make guys better, but ultimately learn and be ready for when their time comes, and it's going to come really soon for us, whether it's right away next year or when we lose guys like KJ Satcher or Cody Markle and stuff like that. So. Really excited about these guys. I'll kind of go through them. Adrian Cantu is a guy from Northwest High School. A lot of these guys, he's a guy that's a really big frame guy. He's 6'4", 285 pounds, moves well. A guy that the biggest adjustment he's going to have is offensively. They're not known to be throwing the ball maybe as much as what we are, and that's really across the board with all these guys of where they've got to adjust themselves is just from the offensive differences. But Adrian's a guy that we're excited to add. Cameron Martin is a guy that has been really recruited by us for quite a while now. He came up on a game visit as a junior, kept in touch with them, was on campus early in the process, came up to watch some practices early in the fall. A guy that, we kind of targeted as a guy that would be a great addition for us early on, getting to know him as early as we did. We're really excited to add him. The other reason, he's one of two guys that we're signing today from Eureka High School, right here close to home. And why that's important is really, we've had one guy, Andy Coulter, who played quarterback briefly for us and then transitioned and played lacrosse, became a great lacrosse player for the MBU Spartans here. But really, we haven't had a guy from Eureka in our program long term, and that's a great program. Their coaching staff does a great job. They're really along a similar fit in regards to how they operate as we are in regards to mentoring and developing guys. So we're really excited to add Cameron. And then Trace Ruckman, who we'll talk about a little bit more here later on, also from Eureka. Dan Ackerman is from Lafayette High School, which is a big rival to Eureka. But Dan's another guy who has a great frame. He's a 6'3", 6'4" guy, 280, 85 pounds, guy that can come in and be physical. He loves the game. Again, great family. One thing I didn't mention about Cam is Cameron Martin is a center as well. Mm-hmm. So if you're kind of looking down the road as to, who might be there to compete when Cody is gone, Cameron is that guy. Does a great job. Dan, again, another guy who is physical at the point of attack, another big body that can move. And that's really the most important thing for us is not just your size. You've got to be able to move. You've got to be able to be tough and physical down in the trenches. And that's kind of what we're seeing out of all these guys. Kind of scanning of some other offensive linemen. I believe those are the three primary offensive lineman guys that we're bringing in, but all guys that can come in and compete right away.
So, Coach, with that very big size, that's really good, and especially looking ahead to those departing seniors. So this is exciting. You know that I'm a little bit biased. Always love to see what you do with the offensive line. If you don't have a good offensive line, it's really difficult for the skilled players to do what they do. So it's really nice because this year we're anchoring a very, very strong offensive line, which should be one of the greatest strengths of the team this year in 2021. So with that, What are some of the other offensive signings?
Well, now you kind of turn your attention to those skill positions, right? So, some guys that are running backs. Andrew Sides, young man out of Arkansas, again, a guy who just fits our pillars. That's the great thing about where we're at now is that we spend so much time finding guys that really are a fit to us with our pillars and everything, that all these guys check those boxes. It's been a little bit challenging, obviously. Normally we're in the schools, we're talking to coaches, we're talking to various people within the school. So we've had to dig a little harder. Obviously we can still talk to the coaches, but it's been really important for us to get these guys on campus and meet with them. And Andrew is one of those guys that really just checks those boxes. Charvel McAllister, a guy from Murray, Kentucky, also a running back. Has a great explosiveness, not the biggest guy, but is a very multiple. He's not just a running back. He could line up in the slot, a versatile athlete that is very explosive in what he does. Courtney Cox is a guy from Belleville West High School that really what we want out of him, he's a tight end. We want him to, compete to be that heir apparent to Anthony.
Mhm.
Okay. So obviously Anthony Taeli has been a primary focal point of our offense. But he's getting down the road to where he's close to being out of eligibility, and we've got to have guys that can come in and compete. Courtney is that guy. Now, the thing that excites me about Courtney so much is his athleticism. He's a guy who really up until now has played offensive tackle, and they transitioned him to tight end. But he's a 6'4", 235-pound guy that's athletic, can move in space. I was able to see him in person. Illinois, a little bit more challenging because you mentioned the different states. Illinois hasn't played their high school season yet, whereas like Missouri and Indiana and all the other surrounding states have. So that's a definite disadvantage for him. But they were able to have some practices in the fall. We were able to get out and evaluate him, get him on campus, and I'm really excited about what he can bring to the table with his overall athleticism. Let's see, kind of moving along. Caleb Quinishut is another guy. I'm really excited about Caleb. He was a guy that we targeted early on. Again, a guy that I just kind of say. When you watch him on film, he's a guy that you can say, okay, that guy can play at a lot of different schools in our league. He can play at a lot of different Division II schools. He's a guy that when you turn on the film week to week at our level, and like I said, the D2 NAI level, that he's the guy that you've got to plan for because of his overall athleticism. Great hands, a really good frame. He's 6'2". 205-pound wide receiver. So gives us a little bit different guy out there than what we've had in the past. He runs extremely well, especially for his size, can create matchup problems. And a guy from Indiana, which is also really important to us because of being in a surrounding state, playing teams that are from Indiana, or obviously our league recruits Indiana very hard. So we're really excited about adding Caleb, and he was an early commit for us that really gave us some momentum as we came into like the end of November, December. Sean Wright is another guy that is another tight end guy. So again, trying to get that build up that depth and competition at the tight end position. Sean's a bigger body than Courtney in regards to overall weight. He's a strong individual. Again, gives you some versatility because he could be kind of that H fullback in the backfield, but also a tight end. Has good hands from the Peoria, Illinois area. So and then you got Tony Brassfield, a local guy from Riverview Gardens, a wide receiver, again, explosive. Okay. Another explosive guy, local talent here, St. Louis. And then Trace Ruckman. We kind of mentioned Trace, also a Eureka guy. Trace is an athlete. He plays kind of that strong safety outside backer for them on defense, but also a really talented wide receiver for them. I think he led their team in yards this past year. I could be wrong in that, but I know he was a big impact guy on their offense and also defense. So not sure where we're going to line up Trace. It might come down to need and how each position is shaken out. And again, like Tony Brassfield is a guy who, not the biggest guy, but can run and gives you a lot of options from a athleticism and speed standpoint. So those are really the offensive guys that we're bringing in, and it's a really good class, guys that are a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. But I think what they bring with their frame and their overall athleticism, it's not like he's just there. Any of them are like one-trick ponies that say, well, he can really run, but maybe doesn't get in and out of breaks as well as he should. These are guys that I think across the board do a lot of things really, really well.
Well, Coach, with that, first of all, congratulations on all 10 of those signees on offense. Really exciting as you continue to bring in some size, which is something that's going to be always a benefit. Size and speed, we all know that. I mean, any of us that have coached or have played this game absolutely know that. So with that, are any of these players going to be playing for us, say, this February, or are these all going to be coming in the fall?
Yeah, nobody that we just mentioned on offense will be somebody competing. They're all they'll be incoming freshmen, so that's again where they've got to come in, get adjusted to college football. The good news is like I told every last one of them, our goal is not to redshirt you. Our goal is to put you in the mix, see where you're at, let you compete, and then evaluate from there. So that's our expectation for every one of those guys. And the good news is that there are some veterans that are ahead of them that obviously aren't going to want to just give up their jobs. So that allows them to learn, which is just as important as anything.
So with that, let's go to the defensive side of the ball, and kind of excited about this because you got a good mix. As you know, Ben Strathman graduated. He's now your GA, and you got the defensive line holes to fill. And you have 4 defensive linemen that you've signed. You have 2 safeties and 2 linebackers. And why don't we kick off with the defensive linemen on the new class of 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. The success of our program, any program, really starts in the trenches. And, we've got a really good class of defensive linemen right now, a really good group of guys. What we really were wanting to do was build up the depth and really kind of specifically focusing on those interior guys. I think we are able, and the way Coach Bowden recruits with defensive ends, we might get a little bit undersized on defensive end at times, but they're really strong. They're really fast, athletic guys. You put a guy like DeCorey McGee or John Clements there, and coming off the edge, Jonathan Stein, those kind of guys. We have a guy that's been with us this year, Raekwon Ramsey, who's a really nice addition to that defensive front with his athleticism. But, inside, it starts getting a little bit thin. You've got guys like Marcus Paddock, Anthony Graham, Jameer Dunbar, Seth Lowry, some of these guys that are competing, but we need to bolster that depth a little bit. Marcus is a guy, Jameer's a guy that can play inside or outside depending on situation. So we needed some size. One of those guys is a guy named Burgess Hill. Burgess is another big body guy. He's 6 foot, 6'1", about 280. He's closer to 300. But has really good strength. He's another local guy from Gateway STEM High School, which we've had really good success getting guys out of that program. Coach Dulick down there, we seem like we talk about him and his program all the time. When it comes to signing day, guys like Kalen Petty have come from that program. Kenyon Perkins, who obviously was a great player for us here. Andre Chandler. We get a lot of really talented guys from that program. Let's see. Another guy, Giovanni Sains Jr. from O'Fallon High School in Illinois. This guy is just a monster. He keeps getting better and better. Gio is at 6'2", 285. His head high school coach, Byron Geddes, I had the privilege of coaching him when I was at McKendree. Byron's a great guy, great coach. And, he just got on the phone and was like, hey, you guys need to take a look at this guy. And he was already on our radar, but with Illinois not being able to play, it's hard to evaluate. And so we had his junior film, but he's like, hey, this guy is just really, really coming along. He's an over 420-pound bencher, just extremely strong, great, great size and strength, and will be a big asset to coming in and bolstering up that interior. Kadir Njaye, Kadir's a guy, actually, he's with us now. So he would be the one guy that's a transfer that we might see this spring. He's given us some inside help. He's a guy that played at Fort Zumwalt North with Triplet. And so those guys are good buddies, and he was able to get Kadir back out into football. So, he's been out of the game a little bit, been taking community college classes. And so getting him back into football shape is something that he's really working hard at. But I have no doubt that Spartan fans will see him on the field this spring. As moving on with defensive line, the last guy is Tyler Bertrand. And Tyler is a guy from Mississippi who comes out and recruited. And again, another huge body. I mean, Tyler's 6'4", 330 pounds, in the interior, just monster. So, a guy who moves well for his size, but he's just going to be a tough guy to move, just like Anthony Graham is, like Marcus Paddock is, like Gio Sains is going to be, Burgess. So, again, one of the things that we know, within the league that we're in is, we've got to have athletes, and we like big bodies that are athletic. But you got to have that size. It can't just solely be a big body. It can't solely just be an athlete. You've got to have that size and strength that goes with it as well. So excited about those guys up front.
So, Coach, with that, I love the fact that, again, this theme of size, obviously been very intentional about that. So with that being said, as you know, we're going to be losing some great linebackers, and especially, as you know, that this is going to be Jalen Cowley's last year. So looking at safety and also Michael Malone at cornerback, which we'll see how much teams throw at him, because he's such a phenomenal talent. So with that, we've got some strength at the linebackers and also the safety and cornerback position. So why don't you talk to us, about the linebackers and then get into the safeties?
Yeah. So a couple of the linebackers coming in. Let's see. Jalen Jones is a linebacker. Just a tough kid. I mean, this kid, he's gonna run. If you told him to take his helmet off and go in and fill a gap, he's gonna do it. He doesn't care. It's typical linebacker mentality that, he see ball, get ball, no mind or care for his body. He's going to go smack somebody. Excited to get him in the mix. Jeffrey Hughes is a guy from here at Northwest High School. Again, a teammate of Adrian Cantu. They both came up and visited together, good buddies, and are going to be coming to MBU together. Jeff is a guy, again, another tough dude, a little bit undersized right now. We'll get him in the weight room, but, when you see him in person, I mean, you can tell he's just strong. He may not have the greatest height, but he's a strong, tough, competitive young guy. Christian Humes is a guy from Parkway Central. So he's, again, another guy that we're really excited here. Oh, I just popped him up behind you on accident.
Quite all right, actually.
Yeah. You like that? Actually,
I love the graphic. Hold on, let me just move out of the way.
Yeah, he's actually Francis Howell Central, so I didn't need to pop that up. But yeah, the graphics turned out great. Our Sports Info guys did that, and they really turned out great for us. So, but no, he's Francis Howell Central. I said Parkway Central, but he's Francis Howell Central.
Gotcha.
Christian's a guy, again, who came up and visited and really is a guy who's just a perfect fit for what we want to do. He's a 5-pillar guy, hardworking guy. Again, really, really good size for a guy that is more of an outside backer guy. Okay. Tatum Bashirs is a guy from Arkansas. Again, probably a guy that we moved to safety down the road, but he could be that nickel safety. Again, a guy who plays more outside backer with his defense, but I think a lot of times high school defenses, similar to like Jalen Cowley, he was an outside backer for his team. They used, and then we moved him back to safety. But Tatum has a nose for the ball, loves the game, tough physical guy. Again, you got Trace Ruckman. We talked about him. He might be a guy who plays some safety as well. So those are the defensive players. I don't believe I'm missing anybody, but I'll kind of double check as we go through this. But really excited. There's the thing that you mentioned about how do we replace those guys? The good news is with the NAI rule and the NCAA rule is that all of our players now have the option to come back and play in the fall and get a full season. So what that means is when we talk about learning, these guys are going to be able to learn from a Jalen Cowley who's going to play this spring and be able to come back in the fall. Mike Malone, same thing. So in our secondary, it was, a point of emphasis to add a little bit of depth, especially in the safety position. But at the same token, we really want those guys with the idea that, hey, these guys are the next heir apparent of some of our better players that we've had throughout the history of our program.
So, Coach, with that, thank you so much for actually bringing that clarity for Spartan fans. So, Jalen Cowley, all our seniors actually will get a chance to play, obviously, the spring season and then, of course, the fall season. And you're exactly right. Talk about what an amazing opportunity that, again, the NAI as well as the NCAA, because of COVID, make some great decisions here, again, so that these young student athletes can play and have the full college experience. So that's going to be great for the Spartans moving forward, especially coming into the fall. So with that, I still know you have 2 signees remaining, and believe it or not, again, for a guy who's a long snapper, I'm actually happy to announce that you've got some kickers. So why don't you talk to us about the new Spartan kickers?
Yeah, so there's 2 kickers that we're signing today, and then a guy, that Spartan fans may remember a little bit from last year, a guy named Colin Black, who's here with the MBU soccer program. But with them not being in season, he's been with us full time now as a kicker, and he's really been kicking the ball extremely well right now. So that's great. It creates competition, which ultimately we want, and Colin doesn't have a whole lot of eligibility left. So we felt like we've got to create competition for him, but also Colin Laws also, who is here as a kicker. So we wanted to create some competition there. And obviously that's a huge piece, something that's kind of bit us a little bit in the past. So the 2 guys that were signed, Jaden George is a guy, he and I have kind of a strange background connection. His mom actually worked as a student at the University of Colorado for my dad in the ticket office. And I knew his mom when I was kind of around and stuff like that. And her son now is ready to go to college. He's from Erie High School. So there's a long history of great kickers coming from Erie High School and MBU program. You might remember Money Metz. That's Ethan Metzler. That's the same program or same high school.
Coach, I have to interrupt you. You may know him. How about the fact I gave him the hashtag Money Metz?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, all right? Let's not forget that.
Well, we're a couple years in. I'm just making sure that your memory's right there, So,
all right. Hey, talk to us about the next kicker.
Yeah. So Jaden's really a punter, and that's his primary focus is a punter. But from Erie High School out in Colorado, not very far from where I grew up, and he was able to come out on a visit, and likes everything that we're doing. He's again a great young man, great pillar guy, team first guy. So we're really excited at him. And then a local guy named Jonah Cox. And Jonah is a guy from Fort Zumwalt South, right here in the St. Charles area, not far from campus. And Jonah is a very, very strong kicker. I want to say he's a 3 or 4 star kicker with Cole's Kicking Camp, which if you're going to look for kickers, and if you are a kicker, you go to Cole's. And I know he's gone there some, but he's also worked here locally. There's believe it or not, the St. Louis area has some really great former NFL kickers that run camps and stuff here. So Jonah has worked extremely hard with those people here locally. and is a guy who's extremely consistent and has really good range. So as he continues to grow and develop, I think right now, he's a 40 to 45-yard kicker with very high accuracy. And as he gets stronger and continues to develop and improve his skills down the road, that's going to definitely increase. So, he's got the ability to go 50 plus. It's just the consistency aspect there. But, by the time you're talking 50 yards and beyond, all kickers are going to have a consistency issue. So, we're really excited about him. Think that he's a guy who can definitely change how we go about things because of the fact, that we have the ability to kick from further out, put points on the board. And that's ultimately some of the things that we've been missing.
Well, Coach, I want to congratulate you and certainly you and your staff on a great class of 2021. Cannot wait to see 19 of those 20 obviously come back in the fall when they get started. But with that, this is really exciting. And what I want to do now is shift gears briefly because, again, this is the most unusual, as you said at the top of the broadcast, and that is this National Signing Day is not normal whatsoever. So with that, I was wondering if we could shift to what it's been like since the spring semester has started, as you are now starting to look at the 2021 practice and game prep. As you said, you have a game in 10 days. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit of what that's like for Spartan fans, because this is not business as usual. This is obviously showing how we have to be able to, as you would say many times, we got to shift our mindset and get prepared to play a game that maybe not even be 40 degrees. So with that being said, kind of give us some insight of what practice has been like, as well as your game prep for next week.
Well, it's been really unusual in a lot of ways. Number one, we have a little bit longer than a normal training camp to get ready. So, I mean, that aspect of it has been nice, that we have a little bit longer. We're not as stressed to get everything in. We can get guys in shape, get them back into playing football mentality. In regards to practices, it really has been business as usual. I think the biggest difference is we're having to put a coat on and some hat and gloves, and guys are bundling up a little bit more when they go out to practice versus when you're going out there in August, and you got to be worried about heat and making sure that they're hydrated and taking breaks and whatever that looks like. So, it's a little bit different mindset, but ultimately, I can't say enough about how these guys have handled the situation. They're just so eager to play that I don't even think they recognize that it's cold out at times, because they're just so eager to learn, get better, and compete. You think about the last time that these guys have played in a game would have been, November 9th or 10th, somewhere in there of 2019, which seems so crazy to say. So it's been over a year. By the time we put the helmet and shoulder pads on, it'll be about a year and 3 months since they've played in the game. So, we've got to make sure, and the thing that we're really emphasizing is kind of the details. I think anytime, even with a 9-month layoff, when you're going from November to August or however long, 9 or 10 month layoff in between seasons, that there's always those early games have crazy things that happen, whether it's turnovers or special teams or something like that ends up swinging those games. That's really where we're trying to emphasize, so that those things aren't an issue come game day. We want to limit those mistakes as much as possible. We're almost overemphasizing all those little things because it has been so long since we've been in a game, that we've got to be detailed in that stuff. So, overall, it's just kind of business as usual, just a different time of year. And obviously it's a little bit different in our schedule because we don't have a full 11 game schedule. We have 7 games right now, and we play Olivet actually twice. So we'll open with them here at Spartan Field, which will be the first ever home game for MBU football, which is extremely exciting. Everybody, we can't wait for that. And that'll be on February 13th at 11 a.m. But Then we have a week off, and then we actually play Olivet again. We were supposed to play Madonna University they're out of Detroit, but because of different rules in Michigan and they didn't feel like that they were able to travel, we had to reschedule, and we felt like we'd rather play a team twice than have another off week. So, just looking forward to that. I think all of us are ready to get back into that competitive mindset. We've been practicing now for next week it'll be 4 weeks, and we're just ready to kind of see somebody else in that time of the year.
So, Coach, as we wrap up the broadcast, I think what everyone would like to know, and again, we'll cover this on your coach's show next week, so we're not going to give it all away, but I think what we'd all like to know is what is your mindset for that home opener, knowing that it's going to be the first time ever played at Spartan Field? This has been a long project in the making. We have an amazing administration, an amazing board of trustees that have allowed all this to happen, and here it is in 10 days at Spartan Field. It's going to be amazing. I can tell you, as a broadcaster, they actually have heating up there, so I'm even more excited because at CBC, you'd have like heaters going on, and it's still cold. But anyways, with that being said, let Spartan fans really know what kind of your expectations are for this home and season opener.
Well, I mean, guarded. I think there's two sides of that I think we have to be very aware of, both as coaches and as players, but especially coming from me, because there is a lot to that. There's from somebody like myself and Coach Kern and Coach Coe and really a lot of our former players are GAs now. You got Gunnar Griffin as a GA, Jack Russell as a GA, Devontae Johnson on staff, Ben Stratman helping out. Coach Bowden, who's been here now 4 years. So for all of us, it's really just like a moment where you got to stand back and just be thankful and praise God for what we have, and that can't get lost. I think that's really exciting for us. But at the same token, something that I've brought up to the team is that they have to understand that from now on, when we go out and play a home football game, it's not going to say CBC on it. It's going to say Spartans. And so when we talk about defending our home field, this really is our home field. This is where you have to draw a line in the sand and say, obviously you got to win on the road to win championships, but you have to win at home. And if you want to put fans in the seats and you want to get excitement around your program, you got to win at home. And so I think that that's something that we've been stressing to these guys. I want to be cautious that we just don't over stress them out. That there's it's one game right now. Obviously, we want to go win, and there's the balancing act of, hey, this is what's expected. You got to go defend. You got to go win the game, but you also have to guard them that there's not this total balloon pop. Depending on what happens on the 13th. Because all of that's going to come in, and they're going to be ready, and they're well coached, and they're going to, give us a battle. They battled us at Smet a year ago. So it's a challenging balancing act from my seat of putting, just the importance of it, because there is a lot of importance to it, but not overdoing it to where these guys just feel so much pressure to excel in this one game, because this is the first of a long run of Spartan football games at Spartan Field. It's not that if we lose this game, they're gonna bring in the bulldozer and bulldoze the stadium and get rid of the football program. It's really the first of a long run. We're trending in the right direction. We've got so much of good things going, not just signing day, but guys that we have back, the way practices are going, all that stuff that you have to be balanced. And I think that's the overall challenge that we have right now.
Absolutely, Coach. And I just want to thank you so much for just really giving us so much insight. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really kind of miss this. I think the Spartan fans miss this. As you know, I've been part of a lot of your recruiting weekends and getting a chance to talk not only to the athletes, but to the parents and letting them know how important social media is, for MBU athletics as well as MBU football, so we can stay connected and engaged with our audience, with the Spartan Nation. So with that being said, thank you again, and congratulations again also on the signees of the class of 2020. And with that, just want to kind of close with this as just a reminder: the Spartans will be opening up the season as well as the home opener in the first time ever at Spartan Field. The broadcast will start at 10:45 a.m. on the Spartan Digital Network. Brad Seigan and I will be on the call, and again, it's going to be a real exciting time. Again, there might be expanded coverage even because of the fact that it is our first home opener. So just want to make sure everyone knows that February 13th at 11 a.m. on Saturday. And with that, Coach, I want to thank you for another amazing broadcast. For Coach B, I am Guy Danhoff, and we want to thank you so much for watching our special National Day signing show. Thank you.